for the destruction, you know what I mean? That happens. That's definitely going to happen to our oppressor as well, just like it's happening to Tyrus right now.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I was asking the question though, how art thou fallen from heaven? Because you were so high. These other nations are, and our oppressor is so high right now. It's like, how did you fall from heaven? How did you fall from your seat? Okay. How art thou cut down to the ground? Who, which didst weaken the nations? Now, once again, this is going to happen to our oppressor, to where everyone's going to be like, damn, like how did this happen to you? Like you were so strong, you were so powerful, and you are the same person who actually did this to each nation. Understand that our oppressor today, he has done all types of wicked things to everybody, including his own. You know what I mean? You can't like these devils can't even trust each other.
Right.
They destroy each other. A good example is Russia and Ukraine. It's just two different white people, white on white crime. That's all. That's all that is. You know what I mean? Now, can you give verse 13, please?
Verse 13. For thou hast said in their heart, I will ascend into heaven.
Mm-hmm.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
Now, I believe this is similar to what was said in verse 2 of chapter 28 of Ezekiel. All right. So I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like, oh, slide. Did I skip it a little bit? Yeah, I did. My bad. Can you read it one more time? 13.
Verse 13. For thou hast said
mm-hmm.
in thy heart,
mm-hmm.
I will ascend into heaven.
Uh-huh.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
You want to think about NASA once again, all right? Space Force. You want to think about skyscrapers. You know what I mean? Big, tall buildings. If you notice, in every city in the U.S., right, they always have some type of building or statue or monument that's very tall, that looks like it's about to touch the sky.
Right.
That's where they get that from. They do that because they feel like they are on top. They are like trying to be close to the Most High in a sense. Can you keep going?
So I can say.
No sweat, you good.
I will set also on the mouth of the congregation.
Exactly what I just said. You know what I mean? What's that one thing that's very tall in DC? It looks like a. They also say there we go. That too. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. Also too, if you notice as well, our oppressor is so perverted because when you do the whole history, when you do the history of these big, like tall, what's it called, monuments? What do we call it? Statue, monument, statue, whatever. If you notice too, a lot of famous places have like those big buildings. They're very tall, and they got that point. When you look into the history of why they created it the way that they did, it's very disgusting. It's sexualized. It's very weird. Yeah, like our oppressor sexualizes everything. Okay, and best to believe it was the same thing with Tyrus.
Right.
Because what captivity was Ezekiel in? Do you know if one?
What captured the Babylonian?
In the Babylonian history, you already know it's very perverted.
Right.
It's very LGBTQ plus. All right, if you know what I mean. Okay, keep going.
In the side of the north. 14. I will ascend above the height of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
Right. Once again, just like everybody who abused their power and thought that they were better than the Most High, they forgot where they got it from. Once again, no one can be on the same level as the Most High when it comes to his power.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you can be like David, where you know, he had a heart. And how you said David's a man who's
heart.
Right, exactly. You could be you could be Abraham, who's a friend of the Most High. You know what I mean? But you cannot be the Most High. Look, even Christ have to check the Sadducees and Pharisees because they thought that he was saying that he is God.
Right.
When he said, no, I'm like, we are the same in the sense of the spirit. That's all that means. Like everybody knows they place, but some people get too prideful. When you get too prideful, the Most High shows you, he meets you as a man.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's old English as well. Okay. Keep going.
Verse 15. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the side of the pit.
And that's just a metaphor saying, look, you are going to be brought down to hell, which is the ground. All right. To a low state. That's what you're going to be brought down to. And that's what happened to Tyrus. Tyrus thought it was sweet. And it wasn't. It was very sour. Like that man lost everything. And that's what's going to happen to our oppressor once again.
That's right.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up too is because time and time again I keep seeing things, and I'm just like, these bastards are just very they really got their head in their ass, if that makes sense.
Right.
All right. Like they're very uppity and just high and mighty. But they're going to be brought down to a low state.
That's right.
And that's when we are going to be at a higher state than them once Christ and them angels return. Okay? And there's nothing that they can do to keep their kingdom because it's crumbling piece by piece every single day. The more that Black and Hispanic and Native Indians come into the IHBK, what that means is that there's not going to be any more drug dealers.
Right.
Any more drug users.
Right.
There's not going to be any more whores and sodomites. Come on, man. No more liars and thieves. Understand that America thrives off of wickedness. That's how it was built.
Right.
Come on, remember that scripture in, how you said, Habakkuk, where it says, woe unto the bloody city. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's, it should be 2 and 12. Yep. Habakkuk 2 and 12. Woe unto the bloody city. I'm paraphrasing, that was built violence and so on and so forth. Y'all gotta bear with me. I'm a little tired over here. All right. I'm over here having brain farts and everything, boy. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, it's gonna be 2 and 12. But the point is, once again, just like Tyrus was being destroyed, it's gonna happen. It's happened time and time in history. We see it all the time. And one thing is too, if the Lord ain't with you, it's not going to prevail, so to speak. It's really going to crumble. Look at Black Wall Street. Now, a lot of people think that just Black Wall Street was destroyed because of the hate and the jealousy. No, it definitely sure was. But also, too, the Most High was not with us.
Right.
You would think that it would have survived and it would never have been touched and things of that sort. But once again, if the Lord ain't with you, it's tight on your ass. All right. Yeah, Habakkuk. Yep. Yep. You got it. All right, but I want to drop that Isaiah and just go back real quick to Ezekiel. Let's see here. All right. See, can you read 2 again? No. You're good. I'll just have another Bible read 2.
Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord God, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man and not God. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of God.
That's no. Habakkuk. It's Habbuk, something like that. Yeah. So it's HA. So look for HAB.
It's gonna be at the end of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Around there. It's a pretty small book.
Yeah, come on.
So again, so it's like if I
Yeah,
could just we seeing again more illustration of their arrogance.
Right.
Same way that Isaiah was illustrating what's going on with them devils.
Right.
They set them heart, their hearts, their aspirations, their desires. They're gonna reach the stars.
Right.
They're gonna battle, you know,
The Most High.
and all that.
Right.
They set in their heart is the heart of the Most High. So that people got to follow them because of their wealth, their riches, their resources, their prosperity, their power. Like we think in common, just like in common times, we mistake prosperity for favor with the Most High.
Right.
Just because somebody got rich or Fortune 500 company and a mansion and some fancy ass car that I'll never be able to pronounce because I got a bus pass. That doesn't mean that the Lord is with them.
Right.
So you can't be that sensitive when we see their destruction. You're sensitive as hell when it comes to their riches compared to yours. So when they get destroyed because of their arrogance, like just stay out the way. Let the Most High take its course.
Right.
It's gonna be for your benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Just it ain't gonna be no proper pronouns used.
Yeah, you know what? Another thing, so I'm glad you said that because when Christ returns, right, and he is over this entire earth, there won't be no such thing as he, she, them, they.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's going to be he or she. That's it.
You are a boy, Damon.
Right. You know what I mean? One thing to in my mind, I think about when people who are part of the LGBTQ plus community, right? And they speak about how, they love God, they believe in God, and I be asking myself, like, don't you know that God made you, right?
Right.
And you decide to transition.
Right.
You want to, be a transformer, right? And you want to be a goddamn transformer. You want to transition and trans this and trans that, right? Don't you ever think to yourself that that's disrespectful how you would change something that you were originally made to be?
That's right.
Come on now. Like now, one thing is, ain't nothing wrong with decorating yourself, but you want to change your gender? That's wild to me, man. Oh, I feel like a woman. I feel like a man. I mean, it's a vibe. Yeah, there are people out here who have effeminate spirits, men.
That's right.
Absolutely. There are some women that are a little aggressive, a little, masculine. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to change yourself. You just got to fix that spirit on you. That's all.
Right.
All right. That's because I feel like a white man with a very high credit score. Come on now, like, and thing is too, they always say feel, and that lets you know it's not real.
That's right.
It's a emotional decision. It's all emotional. I know one thing is that everybody, like every Black, Hispanic, Native Indian, woman, man, they all know, those that transition or whatever, they all know that they still have that little bit of masculinity or femininity that was always there from the beginning.
Right.
All right. Under all that, confusion, it's somewhere there. Now, the one thing I love about science, because of biology, what you learn is that you can't change the hormones of a man or a woman. You may be able to change the outside appearance, but you cannot change science, if that makes sense. Like your makeup is still going to say male or female.
That's right.
Yeah, you can't change that. Like that doesn't make sense to me, boy. Like, good night. Look, I love myself so much that I'm going to be masculine.
Right.
That's right.
I'm going to be myself.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to be what the Lord called me to be. If it was meant for me to be a female, then I would have been that.
Right.
But meanwhile, I'm not.
Right.
I am who I am because this is how the Lord made me. All right. Also, too, what is it? Jeremiah 1:5? The Most High said, I know you before you were formed in the womb. Imagine that. The Most High been knowing you since you was in your daddy's nutsack.
That's right.
That's
All
right.
Give me that precept, please. Habakkuk 2:12. Look,
Habakkuk.
I could write about them all the time because that is so sick.
Horrible.
Man, go ahead.
Chapter 2,
Mhm.
verse 12.
Mm.
Woe to him that builds a town with blood.
That was Tyrus. That was Pharaoh. This is now America, right?
That's right.
It's built the same way. All right. I've never heard of a place where like how can I say it? It's not a great story how America was built up.
Right.
You gotta understand, and a big part of it, I really know, is because we were slaves.
Right.
We were slaves. Like this is how it got built up. We wasn't workers. I think they're trying to change in the textbooks that that slaves are now workers. They're trying to make it less offensive. But it's like workers are what? Oh yeah, we were definitely workers. It was working our ass off against our will.
That's right.
That's for sure. All right, keep going.
And establish a city by iniquity.
And as you know, what is iniquity? Go ahead.
It's gross injustice.
There you go. That's it. All right. Iniquity. Also, too, iniquity can be like on the lines of sin as well. You know what I mean? And so it was built with wickedness. Okay. Like for example, how someone tell me a city that people love so much, but the history of how it was created was or built up was very very terrible that no one really talks about.
Las Vegas.
Tell me the story. That's a good one.
Vegas. It's I can't remember all the details about it, but it was a desert, barren landscape. Pretty much nobody inhabited the neighborhood. I can't remember if it was the military first that had stepped in, but creating, similar to how the 13 colonies were established.
Right, exactly.
They came in, they had, at least in this point, it was a less inhabitable land.
Yes.
So they didn't have to murder as much. They just had to, again, still take property.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then look at everything that's tied in with the drugs, the prostitution, what's the word?
Trafficking too.
Yeah, trafficking, extortion.
Yeah.
Money laundering.
Yeah.
It became a safe haven for criminals.
Yeah.
And it was like damn near the Australia of the flipping West Coast.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like a lot of cities, man. A lot of cities, or I would just say America in general. America in general, once again, is that example of the blood. All right. Also, too, does anybody know about the stories where they purposely so if white people wanted to get a certain group of people out, so-called, the Israelites, right? They would they'll literally flood their city. And then once they was all wiped out, they would take it over and rename it or name it.
Yeah, it sounds like gentrification.
Absolutely, yeah. And I was just finding out more. I was doing some research, and in New York, a lot of predominantly black cities were being literally flooded, like just literally flooded, and they was wiping them out, and then they was taking it over and building these big parks and amusement parks and just all types of stuff. It was crazy.
And then they just write up whatever.
Yeah. So either the black people would die, and the Spanish would die. They'll be unalived from the floods, or otherwise they would just move away. Once again, that's gentrification. Go ahead.
Can you call it genocide too? Being
Absolutely.
anti-Semitic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, no one gets held accountable, but you lose your life, you know, if it means for them living.
Right.
Right. So read that one more time, and then we just end it right there.
Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 12. Woe to him that build a town with blood.
Right. Woe unto him. Woe is an old English Quaker word that means destruction or death. All right. Death and destruction. That's why we say death and destruction in our prayers, because of our oppressor, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
All right.
That's
Woe unto him. Woe unto all the other nations as well. All right. Keep going.
And establish a city by iniquity.
Right. Look, New York and Minnesota and Milwaukee and Wisconsin and California, all these places are established places, and it's established with wickedness. Yeah, especially California. Don't get me started with Hollywood.
Right.
A lot of people got a nickname for it. They call it Hollyweird because
Right.
of all the unusual things that happen there. All right, or that goes on like clockwork, like 24/7. You know what I mean? So many weird horror stories about Hollywood and certain parts of California and stuff like that. You know what? Too, Inglewood. Inglewood's a dark place. It's like you know how they say when you go to a place you can like literally there's like a spirit there.
Right.
That right there, boy. When I went to Hollywood for camp in California, boy, it was just like it was kind of uncomfortable. I always see it on TV and stuff like that, but just seeing the vibe there was just way off. And I'm like, good night, boy. But go ahead.
Yeah, there's a place by my house on Halston. My sister husband, he said he never liked this place.
Uh-huh.
Walking past it, and I got a real creepy feeling about it too, and he called it the dark side. It was kind of like a lot of drugs and killing around.
Yeah.
No, I want you in there. So
yeah. Now
Right.
I've been to certain places where I'm just like, yeah, it don't seem right. Like something's off over here. You know what I mean? So yeah. But anyway, that's it on that. And that's our 7 verses. Catch us next week. With that.
Now, Majin, stand.
Let's try to get through these phrases.
When you're out the dumb, turn face the east. For sparing evil, you can find it in Matthew chapter 6, verse 8 and 13. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemai, Kodash, Hayat, Shaka, Yahweh, Lakwat, Tabah, Zaka, Hayat, Aisha, Barak, Kuwa, Hayat, Shemai, Nathanael, Lakom, Ko, Yawam, Wasalak, Lana, Kabawat, now, Kaslach, now. Kabawathina, Wala, Tabiana, Barasawan, Bob, Awashana, Mayan, Right, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wa'al, Wahata, Parak, Laulam,
In English, our Father.
Our Father,
which art in heaven.
Hallowed
be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh. Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth. As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
Forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
Lead us not to temptation.
Lead us not into temptation.
Deliver us from evil.
Deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it.
Amen.
Amen.
Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha, Ayan, Al Hahari, Mayan,
Yabaa,
Azari, Ma'ai,
Ma'ai,
Yahweh,
Aisha,
Shema, Shemayim,
Shemayim,
Waratazah,
Waratazah,
Al Yathan,
Al Yadon,
Lamawat,
Lamawat,
Wagoka,
Wagoka,
Al Yanawam,
Al Yanawam,
Shamark,
Shamark,
Hanan,
Hanan,
La'at,
La'ah,
Yanawam,
Yanawam,
Wala'at,
Wala'ah,
Yashan,
Yasham,
Shawamar,
Shalomar,
Yashal,
Yashal,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Shamarka,
Shamar,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Tazalka,
Tzolko,
Al Yad,
Al Yah,
Yam Yanka,
Yah,
Yawamam,
Yalawam,
Hashemat,
Hashemat,
La'at,
Ya'ah,
Yakaka,
Yakaka,
Waira,
Ra,
Balayala,
Ra,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Shamarka,
Yashamar,
Makarai,
Makarai,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Atnapash,
Ashapash,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Hazat,
Tazak,
Wabwak,
Ma'ak,
Ma'it,
Ma'ai,
Wa'at,
Wa'ai,
Alam,
In the English, I look up mine
I will
eyes
lift up my eyes
unto the hills. From whence cometh my help?
my help.
My help cometh from the Lord.
My help comes from the Lord,
Which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
You will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
You will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Yahshua,
he that keepeth
shall
Yahshua
neither slumber nor
will
sleep.
neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shed upon thy right hand.
The Lord is the shed upon their right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
Nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
And thy coming in.
and thy coming in.
And this time
For
forth.
this forth,
And he forevermore.
and he forevermore.
Pray for the cock, the power of evil. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah,
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua,
Baba Shah,
Bob Kashah,
Thunder now,
the thunder line,
Cock,
Hakah,
Cock,
Hakah,
Lara Fa'a,
God Rapa'ah,
Call Maksala,
Makah,
Call Marawat,
Makah Malah,
Cock,
Hakah,
Latahar,
Latahar,
Hamad Tazar,
Hakah,
Cock,
Hakah,
Lahaq,
Hak, Yim,
Hamathim,
Hamathim,
Cock,
Hakah,
Arakawat,
Arakawat, Kapwa,
Hatamal,
Hanamam,
Lagarshan,
Lagarsha,
Bashim Yahweh Shah,
Hashem Ashah,
Tuarama,
Do'alamama,
In English, Yahweh.
Yahweh,
In the name of Yahweh.
in the name of Yahshua,
Please give us the power.
please give us the power
The power to heal all manner of sickness.
to pardon all manner of sickness,
And all manner of disease.
all manner of disease,
The power to cleanse the leper.
the power to clean the left,
The power to raise the dead.
the power to raise the dead,
The power against unclean spirits.
the power of unclean spirits,
To cast them out.
cast them out.
In the name of
In the
Yahweh.
name of Yahshua,
Thank you.
thank you,
So be it.
so be it.
for the blood is one of the evil. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah,
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua,
Barakanav,
Barakanav,
Wayashal,
Washa'ab,
Wabayat,
Wabayah,
Sapar,
Sapar,
Barak,
Barak,
Rafa'at,
Rapa'ah,
Magun,
Magar,
Magun.
Hagar,
It's like it just for time's sake, Israelite School UPK,
is our school UPK,
all of Israel.
all this,
By Hashem Yahweh Shah,
Hashem Yahshua,
Tuarama,
the one all know. Come on.
In the English, Lord, in the name of Yahweh.
Lord, in the name of Yahshua,
Bless us in Yahshua.
bless us in Yahshua,
In the school.
and the school,
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Shield.
Shield.
Protect.
Protect.
Loved ones.
Loved ones.
In the name of Yahweh.
in the name of Yahshua,
Thank you.
thank you,
So be it.
so be it.
Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Al-Dam Yalakak,
Al-Yalakah,
Al-Takarak,
Al-Takarak,
Al-Tasquat,
Al-Takarak,
Al-Tasquat,
Al-Takarak,
Al
all,
Kayahana,
Kayahana,
Awabika,
Awabika,
Yahama Yawan,
Yahweh Yahweh,
Ra'ash,
Ra'as,
Alamaka,
Amaka,
Yawyam,
Yahweh,
Shawad,
Sawab,
Wayata Yaitaz,
Wayata Taz,
Altaz Pawanyaka,
Altaza Pawaki,
Amar,
Amal,
Lakwa,
Lakawa,
when Kaki down,
Wakakidam,
Magali,
Magali,
Wala Ayazaka,
Wayaka,
Shamya Sha'ala,
Yahshua,
Awad,
Awad,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Nawa Ataz,
Wa Tazawa,
Laba,
Laba,
Ikharu,
Zakab,
Ayaka,
Ayaka,
Bayat,
Ayah,
Yakaraf,
Zakar,
Ahalia,
Ahayu,
Arwan,
Adawan,
Waya Shema Alayam,
Wash Ashima, Maya, Yum,
Mawab,
Mawab,
Wahagari,
Wabugari,
Kabal,
Wa'alawan,
Wa'amalak,
Wa'alawan,
Al-Shak,
Wa'ashak,
Am-Mishabi,
Abashak,
Tazawar,
Tazawar,
Gam Ashawar,
Dar Ashawar,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Amam,
Amam,
Haywa,
Taiwa,
Zawat,
Zawat,
Babanyalawat,
Abayawat,
Salat,
Salat,
Aishalaham,
Ashal Yaham,
Kamadian,
Samani,
Kasiyah Sara'at,
Kafiya Sarah,
Kayabniam,
Kayam,
Banakal,
Barakal,
Oyashwan,
Kowaswan,
Nashamad,
Nashamal,
Bayandar,
Bandar,
Haywa,
Aywa,
Daman,
Dama,
Ladam,
Ladam,
Shaitam,
Sai Dama,
it's like Shaitam,
Dama,
Nariyamaw,
Nawama,
Karat,
Karat,
Wakazab,
Wakazab,
Wakazabak,
Wakazabak,
Wakazalmanat,
Wakazalmana,
Kalna Sagam,
Karakazam,
Shaw,
Ashak,
Amarwa,
Amar,
Nayurasha,
Narasha,
Nanwa,
Nalawa, Ah,
Nawa,
Nawa,
Alahayim,
Alahai,
Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Shaitam,
Sadam,
Kagalga,
Kagalga,
Kwash,
Kwash,
the Panya Raka,
Lapay, Raka,
Kaash,
Ka'as,
the Bari Ira,
Darai Bahai,
Wakalahaba,
Wakazahab,
Salahat,
Dalahab,
Haryam,
Ayam,
Kanthar Datma,
Kandadam,
Basarata,
Basar,
Basabu Paska,
Babasaka,
Tablam,
Dalaham,
Mala'at,
Mala'at,
Panyam,
Parhani,
Kwalman,
Walawan,
Wayabakwash,
Walakwash,
Shamka,
Shakat,
Yahweh,
Yahab,
Yabashwa,
Babasha,
Wayabahal,
Parhal,
Adi Ai,
Adiyah,
Wayakapar,
Parhal,
Wayabaru,
Parhal,
Wayadaiwa,
Pardaira,
Kayatha,
Kayata,
Shamka,
Shakat,
Yahweh,
Yahab,
Labarka,
Labak,
Aliwan,
Adawan,
Al, Call,
Call,
Alright,
Awakazah.
In English, keep not thy silence.
Keep not the silence.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
Be not still.
Be not still.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Below.
O Lord.
Thy enemies make a tumult.
Thy enemy maketh tumult.
And they that hate thee.
And they that hate thee.
Have lifted up the head.
And lift up their head.
And taken crafty counsel.
And take crafty counsel
Against thy people.
against thy people.
And consult against thy hidden
And
ones.
consult against their hidden ones.
They have said.
They have said,
Come.
Come.
Let's cut them off for being a nation.
Let's cut them off for being a nation.
That the name of Yahshua.
In the name of Yahshua.
May be no more in
And
remembrance.
they don't be known in remembrance.
That consulted together with one consent.
They have covenants together with one consent.
They are confederate against you.
They have confederate against
The tabernacle of Edom.
Tabernacle of Eden.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Israelites.
Of Moab.
And Moab.
And Hagarim.
And Hagarim.
Cabal.
Cabal.
And Ammon.
And Ammon.
And Amalek.
And Amalek.
The Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre.
And 15 having the retiree.
Sure also join with them.
I'm sure also join with them.
That hope in the children of Lot.
They have helped in the children of Lot.
Salah. Go unto them as unto the Midianites.
Go up to them as to the Midianites.
As a system.
As a system.
As a Jabin.
As a Jabin.
At the brook of Kison.
At the brook of Kison.
Which spreads at Endor.
As well as Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
He became dumb as the earth.
Make the nobles like a rib.
Make the noble as a rib.
Like that.
Like that.
Yea.
Yea.
On the person as a bar.
As the president as a bar.
And as a moon.
As a moon.
Who
Who
said?
said,
Let's say to ourselves.
let's seek to ourselves
The houses of Yahweh in possession.
the house of Yahweh in possession.
All my power.
All my power.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wind.
As a stubble before the wind.
As a stubble before the wind.
As a fire burneth the wood.
As a fire burn the wood.
And as the flames set the mountains on fire.
And the flames take the mountain on fire.
So first become thy tempest.
And prosper them with their tempest.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
Make them afraid of their tongue.
To their faces with shame.
Prepare their faces with shame.
Let me seek thy name.
And then seek their name.
O Lord.
O Lord.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Let them be confounded and troubled and forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them put to shame of perish.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
That men may know that thou.
And they may know that now.
Whose name alone is Yahweh.
Whose name is Lord Yahweh.
Art the most high over all the earth.
Remember more high all the earth.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things.
And all things live.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
To use a curse.
The evil curse.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction. To the heathen.
That speak against us.
That speak against us.
Thy prophets.
Their prophets.
Teachers.
Their teachers.
The princes.
Their princes.
The priests.
Their priests.
Israelite brothers.
Israelite brothers.
In the school.
And the school.
To use a curse.
To use a curse.
Punishment and destruction.
Punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose.
And shake you.
The church of the rich of Israel.
And the church of the rich of Israel.
That refuse to give to the school.
They refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
Into thy sanctuary.
Into the sanctuary.
To use a curse.
To use a curse.
Punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nation.
And the nation.
And the drug
and the drug
the
dealer,
court system,
court
the
system,
prison system,
prison system,
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood,
all the governments of our enemies,
all the government are in,
MLS synagogues and armies,
and the
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church,
Pope, Islam,
Islam,
Christianity,
Christianity,
Egyptology,
Egyptology,
militia, Ku Klux Klan,
Ku Klux Klan,
Aryan Nation,
Skinheads,
Cosmopolitan, the gay movement,
lesbian
the
movement,
lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft,
workers of witchcraft,
that's the space program,
that's the space program,
Army,
Navy,
Air
Air
Force,
Marines,
Wall Street,
Wall Street,
open up the internet,
and
the airways,
and the airways,
cable access channel,
and
the radio channel,
and the radio channel.
Pick the spirit in thy people,
Because it's the spirit in the people
that seek to stop
that seek to stop
and
it,
bring swift destruction,
bring swift
to
destruction,
all the heathen,
all the
that
heathen,
stand in the way,
all the way,
or try to stop us,
or try to stop us,
broadcasting your word,
or broadcast their word,
throughout the planet Earth,
throughout the planet Earth.
They lose all the plague,
They lose all the plague,
cause to go to and fro,
go to and fro,
through the earth and consume it,
through the earth and consume.
let the plague shake the house of the thief,
Let the plague shake the house of the thief
and the murder,
and the murder.
let Yahweh shine,
Let Yahweh shine,
Michael
Gabriel,
come down with the flying
come down with the flying saucer,
punish all the heathen,
across all the heathen
that come up against
that come up against
as
us,
we speak thy word,
as we speak that word,
cause we know by all,
cause we know about all,
that is the angel that done it,
that the angels that does it,
cause to spread through the media,
got spread through the media,
throughout the whole world,
throughout the whole world,
cause them to shake at thy coming,
cause to shake at the come.
in the name of Yahweh Shah.
In the name of Yahweh Shah,
Thank you always.
thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
So the front.
Yeah. How about you, Shah Barak? Yeah.
Yeah, about Signal Sabbath. Yeah. Kills together.
Yeah, how about you, Shah Barak? Yeah.
All right, that concludes the Sabbath service. Shalom, Israel. Wrap it up.